Absolutely. I've cleared the phone lines. I'm sorry for those that were holding on other subjects. I want to just take a few calls here for people specifically that have been involved in building these torture facilities, these soundproof secret jails.
And rendition centers.
Absolutely, snatch and grab centers. And we separately have them on the news saying we want to arrest citizens secretly. We want to have the Pentagon arrest whoever they want, and only an act of Congress can find out where they went. So that's mainstream news now, folks. This is really going on. And what better place than the post office? They've admitted they want to use the post office for mass arrest and forced inoculation. Paul Watson has that in his article at prisonplanet.com. So we know they've talked about this in the past. And then Watson did find a mainline webpage which talks about how the architecture firm IPG Architects constructed the criminal investigative offices within the Macon post office in Macon, Georgia. The new documents describe similar rooms being constructed in Lake Forest, Illinois, and other areas of the country. And you look at these are secret dungeons where they can bring you in the back of a postal vehicle, bag over your head, you're brought into a catwalk, big sealed door, two-way mirrors. This is the secret police. This is the secret America. And we know the black sites in Europe are postal facilities and horse ranches and shut down grocery stores and shut down auto parts facilities. And they just take you in there and torture the living daylights out of you. This is just an archipelago, a gulag. Hell, folks, they're on the news telling you torture's good of children to get answers. And of course, Steve Quayle mentioned this, incredible articles up at gcnlive.com. by Steve Watson. Former CIA officials admit to faking bin Laden video. Military psyops took over operation after intelligence project failed to take off. And the incredible part is this is even in the Washington Post. Steve, what's happening? Well, let me give the number out. 1-800-259-9231. Quick calls if you've worked in these facilities, 800-259-9231, or if you helped build them, or if you work in a post office and you've suddenly seen them build a new room or a new building off the structure and you're told not to go in there and it's all locked up. We want to hear from you, 800, when we've confirmed it's real. But the point is we want to hear from you. 1-800-259-9231. But, Steve, what is the issue here where we knew the government was bringing in narcotics in the 60s, but now they come on the news and say, we're growing the opium, it's a good thing. Suddenly, they're not even hiding things anymore. They're admitting world government. They're admitting they ship in the cocaine. They're just, it's just, what is happening, Steve?
Well, I think, first of all, they don't care anymore, where the cloak of secrecy provided them the ability to do all this stuff and do it with the American people gladly paying their taxes, going along with the idea that America would never be responsible or be involved in something like this. It's kind of a gloating session to the same degree that certain sects around the world have to warn you before they kill you. These guys are perverts. They're totally perverts, okay? And they're perverted in the glee they get out of seeing the control. You know, Alex, you and I have talked about this so many times over the years. They are truly control freaks. But the ultimate power of life and death, they actually believe that they're God, little g. And that provides the ultimate base in the conflict for the ultimate showdown in history, and that's what we're heading for. Look, you've got all the reports coming in the Middle East, whether Egypt's really preparing to attack Israel, Israel's preparing to hit Iran, Iran's preemptively going to hit Israel, and Turkey just basically said the United States go to hell. By the way, we have a lot of nuclear weapons at Incirlik Air Force Base in Turkey. So the point that I'm trying to make is that the volatility of hotspots, by the way, we're going to go into Chavez land, too. I mean, that's Venezuela. We're building for that. That was the whole purpose.
Yeah, this is World War III.
Haiti.
Absolutely, Steve. I want to go to some calls here, and we'll definitely have to have you back up in the next few days if you can do it. It's always hard to get Steve on. We appreciate him coming on today, but I wanted to bring this up. Again, they're going to tell the post offices this is for postal inspector investigations, but they've always had those offices. We've done the research. These are new, hardened, soundproofed facilities, and they're building them everywhere, and they admit it has the dual use of interrogation and forced inoculation. That's the issue.
And Alex, if it weren't for all those issues. They wouldn't be bulletproofing the glass. They wouldn't be soundproofing the rooms, and they wouldn't be sequestering the access to only a select few that are involved and allowed access to that. Look, it's right into your eyes. They've already declared their whole hand. It's absolutely happening now. And the thing is, the question is, what is the trigger point? That's the question I get asked 100 times a day. I do not know the trigger point, but I can tell you this. Every six-shooter in the room is hammer back and finger on the trigger.
Well, no doubt. I mean, look at North Korea. We'll be covering that more tomorrow. I mean, open talk of World War III. Is this being used as a political threat to the nation states? Pay us the tens of trillions to the bankers, give us a world order, or we'll start World War III. That's why the globalists gave nukes to Pakistan, nukes to South Africa, nukes to North Korea, or will they go ahead and carry it out?
They have to carry it out because, look, the financial meltdown is so now out of control. And there is no answer. There is no solution. You've got 40 million people on food stamps. You've got the commercial real estate market ready to crash. And, you know, I get emails. I don't know if you get these, Alex, where people say, well, it isn't as bad as you guys said it is. No, it's going to be worse. And the fact is that when you've got a whole plethora of information, voluminous in research, people say, well, I just don't believe it. It has nothing to do with belief.
Well, there's no doubt they're geared up for World War III and total martial law and gun confiscation. That's all admitted. And their finger is starting to squeeze on the trigger. And hopefully we get the word out, we can avert this. But at least we put the word out. Terry in Florida, did you work on one of these facilities?
Well, no, I didn't work in it, but it's a branch post office that I go into, and it has special rooms and like a jail and soundproof, and you know, it's not like a normal post office that I grew up with. So those type of post offices do exist.
Oh, but and they admit 7 years ago they're going to be used during martial law and forced inoculation. That's another good point, Steve. I've noticed a lot of new post offices themselves are like armored prisons.
Absolutely. Even the little town I live in, Bozeman, our main post office, everything's done through guard gates going down into, there are electronic guard gates with passes. There's so much stuff going on in little communities. You know, we're about, 40, 50,000 people here. But, Alex, everything is being hardened, okay? And the siege mentality. In Helena, Montana, we have one of the Federal Reserve banks. And, the guys that are familiar with what's going on up there, they said, Steve, it's like they're expecting a full-scale war against them.
Well, look, Steve, as you know, for 4 years, all the big money's been leaving the country.
Absolutely.
In a literal evacuation. John Wayne family is leaving. I confirmed that from Central Texas. I'll just leave it at that. And remember 3 months before the fake flu thing the feds put out, we had the emergency manager out of Indiana where the feds came to them and said, we're getting ready for millions dead from the flu. It will happen. They used that as a smokescreen to get their grid in place. And we confirmed it then out of the Bureau of Cemeteries was getting ready for it in New York State. And so clearly, and they told the emergency managers, they said, martial law, harden your police stations and fire departments from the citizens. Now, what is it the government's been planning where they think the citizens are going to be attacking all the police stations, Steve?
Well, first of all, it's going to be the financial shutdown of the country first and foremost, Alex. Look, you and I did the show the night that one day, let's remind everybody, one day we were at almost a level 5 bio-alert. The World Health Organization was going to take control. We were going to go into...
Stay there.